pranams. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Today we are going to see from Caitanya Charitamrta. 1 minute, Prabhu, let me. So, today we are going to see from Caitanya Charitamrta, Adilila, verse 1 to 8. So, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my most humble obeisances for all the Vaishnavas present here in the Zoom meet. So now let's discuss the pastime of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his youth. Chapter 17, Adilila. Lots and lots of pastimes are mentioned here. These same pastimes are mentioned elaborately in Chaitanya Bhagavat. So I'm taking many verses from Chaitanya Bhagavat. And here in the chapter 17, 1 to 9 verses describes Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu's youthful splendor. Kindly please bless me, and may by your heartfelt blessings, the right words come at the right time in the spirit of glorification of the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's for my own purification. Please accept my humble obeisances and please shower your choices. Blessings. Vancha kalpatarubyascha. Kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Chapter 17, verse 1. Vande svairatuteham tam chaitanyam yasprashadataha yavana shumanayante Krishna nama prajalpakaha. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even unclean yavanas become perfectly well-bred gentlemen by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Such is the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here we see that even the fallen person becomes perfect by chanting the holy names of the Lord. They have the mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu when they are sincere in the path of devotional service. See here, the word Yavanas has been used here. So who are the Yavanas? Yavanas means they are the people, they eat meat, they are the people of some unclean habits. Even they become perfectly well-bred gentlemen. But then who are these well-bred gentlemen? Sometimes it is just the opposite of the Yavanas, maybe we can say. Sometimes who comes from these very cultured family, they have the clean habits and they have the nice behavior. Even these Yavanas, who are the meat eaters, who have the unclean habit, they also become well-bred gentlemen by taking up the process of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is a special blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See, we all know how Srila Prabhupada went all over the world to all the countries, meeting various kinds of people, and with lots of pain, he established this ISKCON. So there were people from different backgrounds. Say they all became devotees of the Lord. when they started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they were developing all these wonderful clean habits. They avoided all the sinful activities and they followed the 4 regulative principles. And that was possible. How that was possible is because they were all sincerely chanting the holy names of the Lord. So here we can see the example, like how Srila Prabhupada changed the Yavanas to the well-bred gentlemen. They just took up the process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra very sincerely. That is the only qualification. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. All glories to Advaita Acharya. And all glories to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Kaishora Leela Sutra Karila Ghanan. Yavana Leela Sutra Kariyanukramam. I have already given a synopsis of the Kaishor Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now let me enumerate his youthful pastimes in chronological order. Text 4. Vidya Saundarya Sadvisham Sambhoga Nritya Kirtanaihi Prema Nama Pradanaisha Gauro Divyati Yavvane. Exhibiting a scholarship, beauty, and fine dress, Lord Chaitanya danced and chanted as he distributed the holy name of the Lord to awaken dormant love of Krishna. Thus, Lord Sri Gaurasundara shone in his youthful pastimes. Text 5. Yavana Praveshe Ange Ranga Vibhushan Divya Vastra Divya Vesha Malaya Chandran. As he entered his youth, the Lord decorated himself with ornaments, dressed himself in fine cloth, garlanded himself with flowers, and smeared himself with sandalwood. Text 6. Vidyara Audhatye Kaho Nakare Ganan Shakala Pandita Jini Kare Adyapan. By the dint of pride in his education, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not caring for anyone else, defeating all kinds of learned scholars while executing his studies. So from here I have taken verses from Chaitanya Bhagavat. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, the elaborate explanation of this has been given. From here I'm taking verses from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Navadvipe hena nahi panditer nama Yashiya bhuji beka prabhura vyakyan Pandita shakala deke ina brahaspati Ei mata deke shabe arahina mati. There was no scholar throughout Navadvip who could understand Nimai's explanation. All the learned scholars considered him equal to Brahaspati. In this way, everyone appreciated the Lord according to their own mentality. So here from this, we get to know that we also know that Navadvip is known for Pandits. Even in Navadvip, there are no one as scholarly as Nimai Pandit. All the learned scholars, they compare him to Brahaspati. Hena divya sharirena haya Krishna rasa Kikari be vidyai haile kalavasha Mohita Vaishnava Sabha Prabhu Ramayai Deki Yaota Bhute Keha Deki Tina Paya. They thought, although he has a divine body, he has no attraction for Krishna. What good is education if he simply wastes his time? all the Vaishnavas were bewildered by the internal potency of the Lord. So even though they saw the Lord, they did not understand him. So one thing we understand from this is, unless the Lord reveals, one cannot understand him. There were so many devotees, Vaishnavas, they were there. They were all feeling so sad. Oh, this boy, they were all thinking that this personality, they were thinking that this Gauranga is having such a beautiful body. What is the use if he has no attraction for Krishna? If he is the devotee of the Lord, if he's not the devotee of the Lord, then what is the point? He has a beautiful body, he has good education, but he is wasting his time competing all the scholarly people, winning the debates. They were thinking, see, what is the use of winning them? Actually, we all should understand that this is the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has not started exhibiting his Harinam Sankirtan process of Bhakti Yoga and the process of Bhakti Yoga. So he was just like very scholarly, intelligent person. He would just keep defeating the people and take pride in that. And that was the image what he was having also. And all the Vaishnavas and all the devotees of the Lord would actually think that, see, he is having the beauty and the brain. Only if he is going to use in the service of Krishna, it is fruitful. Then only it is perfect. Otherwise, what is the use of all these attractive things? He possesses, what is the, I mean, like they are thinking like, what is the use of all these attractive things if he is possessing? It's all just a failure if one does not have attraction for Krishna. Also, we notice that the Lord, here he was in the later verses, we'll get to know that the Lord, he will take the Diksha and he was waiting for the spiritual master. And here the Lord want to demonstrate that to connect with the bona fide Guru, Shishya Parampara, it is important to take initiation. And that is how also we will see in this particular section, we will see how the Lord accepts initiation in the later verses from his spiritual master, Sri Ishwarapuri. And all these attributes of devotion of the Lord will manifest very quickly. Shuniya Hashena Prabhu Seva Keravaki Prabhu bole tomara shika omora bage. The Lord smiled on hearing his servant speak like this, and he replied, I am fortunate to have you instead me. See, now, like Chaitanya, now Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very happy. What was giving him that happiness? The devotees were saying like that. The devotees were concerned that why is this person not taking up Krishna consciousness? So we are talking to him to become a devotee, and the Lord, he had actually covered himself, and they did not perceive that he is the Supreme Lord. When they were talking like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was so pleased. So one thing that pleases Krishna or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that when we go out of our way to help others in becoming Krishna conscious. That is what the devotees were doing, and it is mentioned here that the Lord really liked what they were doing, what the servants were advising him. Kena mate prabhu kona yena vidyarase seva ka chintinare anya jana kishe. As the Lord does pass his time in scholastic pastimes, his servants could not recognize him. So what to speak of others? So here, I already told you that like unless the Lord reveals, nobody can understand him, no matter how powerful we are, how scholarly we are, how rich we are, how devotional we are. How, like, whatever it is, whatever, even if I am very devotee, if I am very devotional, if I am having lots of money, if I'm very powerful in this place, whatever it may be, unless the Lord reveals, nobody can understand him. So we all also will remember the Damodar Leela, where Mother Yashoda tries to tie Krishna, and every time it was 2 fingers short. One finger represents our endeavor, and the other finger represents Krishna's will or Krishna's mercy. So till the time Krishna reveals himself, no one can understand him. Here, the second line, if you see, Sevaka chinite nare anya janakishe. How can others recognize if the servants or devotees themselves cannot recognize? Hena kale navadite Shri Ishwarapuri Ailena ati alakshita veshadari. In the meantime, Shri Ishwarapuri came in disguise to Navadvip. Krishna rasa parama vimal mahashaya ekanta krishnera priyati daya maya. He was overwhelmed with love for Krishna. He was most merciful and dear to Lord Krishna. Wearing the dress, no one could recognize him as he arrived by the providence at the house of Advaita. So we will see in future how Sriman Mahaprabhu accepts Sri Ishwarapuri as a spiritual master. Here also we see that Sri Ishwarapuri Path is visiting Navadvip. It is described here how he was overwhelmed with love for Krishna. He was overwhelmed with the ecstatic feeling and love for Krishna. But he had come in a disguise. So because of that, no one could recognize him when he was wearing that dress. In Caitanya Bhagavat, the detailed explanation is given like actually, the noble-minded gentleman was always absorbed in the mellows of devotion to Sri Krishna. He was thus extremely dear to Sri Krishna and he was an ocean of mercy. No one, however, could recognize him by his dress. By the will of fate, he came to Sri Advaita Acharya's house, Caitanya Bhagavat, Adi 11. So here Sri Ishwarapuri again showed exemplary humility, the ornament of a true Vaishnava when he first met Sri Advaita Prabhu. Finding Advaita Prabhu busy serving his deities, Ishwarapuri, he sat down patiently and shyly. Although he was a great Vaishnava sannyasi, but he introduced himself as a Shudra of the lowest class. So he appeared actually like a Mayavada sannyasi, having the Ekadanda stick, and he appeared as a Mayavadi sannyasi, but actually he is a great devotee, he is a great Vaishnava. So there are lots of verses which are describing about his arrival to Advaita Prabhu's house in Caitanya Bhagavat. We will see that one by one. Ekane Advaita Seva Karena Vashiya Samuke Vashila Bada Shankuchita Haya. He humbly sat down close to where Advaita Prabhu was performing his puja. Vaishnavera Teja Vaishnavete Lokaya Puna Puna Advaita Tavana Panichaya. So the effulgence of a Vaishnava cannot be hidden from another Vaishnava. And therefore, Advaita Prabhu looked at him again and again. So when Srila Ishwarapuri, he arrived there one devotee named Mukunda Datta was there. He started singing verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. That has been described here in Caitanya Bhagavat. Like Mukunda Datta, who was also present, could also understand that this is a Vaishnava sannyasi, and thus he contrived to expose him. See, Mukunda Datta is trying to expose Sri Ishwarapuri to everyone. In a sweet voice, he began a kirtana describing Sri Krishna's pastimes. When Sri Ishwarapuri heard that kirtan, he at once fell to the ground and the earth beneath him became wet with his tears. The devotees presented were dumbstruck. Oh, we have never seen such a great devotee like him. So that was the position of Sri Ishwarapuri. Daiva eke dina Prabhu Sri Gaura Sundar Padaya Ishena Panaragar Pati Deka Haila Ishwara Purishane Vrityadeki Prabhu Namaskarila Pane. One day, as Gaura Sundar was returning home from school, by providence, he met Sri Ishwarapuri. Seeing his eternal servant, the Lord offered him obeisances. So after everyone recognized that he is a great Vaishnava. Then it so happens that one day Gauranga Mahaprabhu was returning home from a school where he meets Shri Ishwarapuri. Here it is explained that how Gaurasundar recognized that Ishwarapuri is his eternal servant, and because in this pastime, Gaurasundar was a young boy, and Shri Ishwarapuri was a great saint, so he offered him his obeisances. चाहे न ईश्वर पुरी प्रभुर शरीरा सिद्धा पुरुषेर प्रया परम गंभीरा. When Ishwarapuri saw Nimai's speeches, he could understand that Nimai was a most grave and exalted personality. Jigyasena tomara ki nama vipravara ki punti pada o pada kosane dharam. Ishwarapuri inquired, "Oh, best of the Brahmanas, what is your name? Where are you studying and teaching, and where do you live?" So here Sri Ishwarapuri Pad, he remained at Navadvip for a few months. Okay. For one day when Nimai Pandit was returning home from the school, he happened, by chance, he happened to meet Sri Ishwarapuri on the way. Sri Ishwarapuri was as though mesmerized while looking at the son of Shachi, and thought to himself, he has all the indications of being a divine personality and appears very grave indeed. So Sri Ishwarapuri inquired, "Oh, Vipra boy, may I know your name? Where do you live?" So these were the inquiries made by Sri Ishwarapuri. Sheshabe boli lena Nimai Pandita Tumi se baliya bhara haila harashita. When the others replied, "He is Nimai Pandit," Ishwarapuri joyfully said, "Oh, so you are Nimai." Bhikshane mantrana prabhu karile natane mahadare grihilai chalilapane. The Lord invited Ishwarapuri for lunch and then respectfully brought him home. Krishnera Naivedya Shachi Karile Najiya Bhiksha Kari Vishnu Grihe Vashila Shia. Mother Sachi prepared an offering for Krishna, and after honoring the prasad, Ishwarapuri sat in the temple room. Krishnera Prastava Shabha Kahita Lagila Kahiti Krishnera Katava Shahaila. Thereafter, Ishwarapuri became fully absorbed while describing topics of Lord Krishna. So this is the great general etiquette, general etiquette when we invite a saintly person or advanced devotees to our house. That is the time they will bless the house, and they will bless the devotees, and they will purify the house. Here, Sri Ishwarapuri, he's just simply didn't come to honor the prasad or something. He came there to discuss Krishna Katha. That is what is mentioned here. Kahite Krishnera Katha Avasahayela. Arriving there, Mahaprabhu personally, when Sri Ishwarapuri arrived at the house of Mahaprabhu, he personally washed his feet. While in the deity room, Shachi Mata offered various preparations that she had prepared to the Lord. Then Mahaprabhu served the prasadam to Ishwarapuri and afterwards accepted his remnants. Thereafter, they sat in the temple, that is in the Vishnu Graha, and discussed Krishna Katha, by which they became filled with ecstatic love. Apurva premera dhara dekiya santosha na prakashe apana lokira dina dosha. The Lord was satisfied to see his unprecedented symptoms of love, which he did not disclose due to people's misfortunate position. Masha Kata Gopinatha Acharya Ragare Rahila Ishwarapuri Navadvipapure. Ishwarapuri stayed for few months in Navadvip at the home of Sri Gopinath Acharya. See, Gaura Sundara, he observed that exceptional love that was appearing in Ishwarapuri, and it is also mentioned that Ishwarapuri didn't disclose that to common people. That is also a very important point to note here. So devotees, they don't disclose their loving symptoms for the people in public or to the materialistic people. They hide their loving sentiments actually. They don't publicly exhibit the ecstasy of the Lord. This is actually people's misfortune. So, actually, anyways, they will not be able to understand even if it is revealed also. And later, Sri Ishwarapuri stayed there for a few months in the house of Sri Gopinath Acharya. He is the brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and he is the incarnation of Lord Brahma and also of Ratnavali Sati of Braja. So here, explaining this about Gopinath Acharya, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given this. See, Gopinath Acharya was the resident of Navadvip, the son-in-law of Maheshwara Visharada, who lived in Vidyanagar, and the brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Madhusudana Vachaspati. In the opinion of some, he is the incarnation of Lord Brahma. It is described in Gaura Ganodesha Deepika 75. So, Gopinath Acharya was the incarnation of Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe. He was one of the Navavyuhas and a knower of the Tantras. And he, in others' opinion, he was Ratnavali Saki of Brajdam. And also in Gaura Ganodesha Deepika 178, it is mentioned that Ratnavali, the Pranasaki of Braja, now appeared as the pure learned Gopinath Acharya. Okay. So, next verse, we'll go to the next verse. Padaya Padiya Taku Sandhya Kale Ishvara Purire Namaskari Barachale. After studying and teaching, the Lord went in the evening to offer his obeisances to Ishwarapuri. Prabhu Deki Shri Ishwarapuri Harashita Prabhu Hena Na Janina Tabu Pada Prita. Ishwarapuri was happy to see Nimai, and though he did not know him as the Supreme Lord, he still had love for him. Hashiya Bolena Tu bhi Parama Pandita Ami Punti Kariyachi Krishnera Charita. Ishwarapuri smiled and said, "You are a big scholar. I have written a book about the characteristics of Lord Krishna." So here, Gaura Sundara, he had lots of respects for Sri Ishwarapuri. So every day Mahaprabhu would come to have darshan of his lotus feet, and occasionally he would come, invite Sri Ishwarapuri to his home for lunch also. At that time, Sri Gadadhara Pandit, he was a young boy. So Ishwarapuri was very, very affectionate with Gadadhara Pandit. So he began to teach him from the book which he had written. He had composed, that is Sri Krishna Leelamrita. So one evening when Mahaprabhu had come to offer his obeisances to Ishwarapuri, Ishwarapuri spoke to him. "See, you are a great Pandit. I have composed a manuscript about Sri Krishna's pastimes. Shakala balita kota take kom dosha ihate amara bada parama santosha." I would be most satisfied if you tell me there is any fault in it. Prabhu bole bhakta vakya Krishna Ravanan ihate ye dosha deke sei papi jan. The Lord replied, "Whoever finds fault in a devotee's description of Lord Krishna is a sinful person." So here we can see that Sri Ishwarapuri is requesting Nimai to find some fault because he is a great scholar. So he says, "I have compiled a book on the glories of Krishna. So if you could please hear it, and then I can recite it before you. So then you can correct any mistakes that there might be. Then I will be very pleased if you can do this." Then Nimai says, "Arey, if anybody finds faults in devotee's description, that person is very sinful." Bhaktira kavitva yete mate ke dhanaya Sarasvata Krishnira pritita te nishchaya. Krishna is certainly pleased with his devotees' poetry, even though it is imperfectly composed. Murkha bhole Vishnaya, Vishnava bhole dhira. Dui vakya parigraha Krishna Hare Krishna Vira. An uneducated person may chant Vishnaya, while a sober person will chant the proper form Vishnavi. But the Supreme Lord Krishna will accept both the forms when they are chanted with devotion. We should note down this point. So now here we can see that Sri Ishvara Puripad is requesting Sriman Mahaprabhu because he is a very scholarly person. He is just inquiring Mahaprabhu, of course not in a very challenging attitude. That also we should take a note of that. In the previous verse, we saw that Mahaprabhu said it is offensive and to find a fault in whatever devotee is describing of Krishna, and is continuing and saying that Krishna is certainly pleased with this devotee's poem, even if it is not properly composed. What does it mean? Here he is giving an example. Murkha bole Vishnaya, Vishnava bole dhira. So he here says that uneducated person may chant Vishnaya, and the dhira or the sober person, they will chant perfectly, but Krishna will accept both forms when it is chanted with devotion. So Krishna is looking for devotion or the bhav of the devotee. He is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. That is the point Sriman Mahaprabhu is highlighting here in this verse. Ihate ye dosha deke tahara se dosha bhaktera varnana matra krishnera santosha. One who finds fault with a devotee is himself at fault, for devotees' descriptions are meant only for the pleasure of Krishna. So here is the secret. What is the secret? So when a devotee is compiling a literature about Krishna or song about Krishna, his intention is only to please the Lord. So if someone tries to find fault in that, then that person only is at fault. So devotee is a one who comes from the bona fide sampradaya or bona fide parampara. Anyone or everyone cannot be accepted as a devotee of the Lord if they claim themselves to be a devotee also. Now Mahaprabhu says this, but in Caitanya Caritamrta Adilila we can see if anyone brings poem or anything whatever to Mahaprabhu, then Mahaprabhu's secretary is there, Swarup Damodar. He will check everything first. If everything is properly written, if it's bona fide, then only Mahaprabhu will read that also. If someone writes something, it should be in conjunction with three, Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. Ativa tomara se preme ravanan ihate dushi beka konsa shati kajan. Therefore, who will dare to find fault with your devotional descriptions of Krishna's pastime? Shuniya Ishvara Puri Prabhura Uttara Amrita Shinchita Haina Sarva Kalevara. Hearing Nimai's reply was like a shower of nectar on the body of Ishvara Puri. Punahashi Balena Tomara Doshanai Avasha Bali Badosha Taki Tani. He then smiled and said, "You will not be at fault, but you must tell me if there is any error in the book." Here we can see that Sri Ishwarapuri is giving instruction to Mahaprabhu that if he finds any error, he can tell him and it is not his fault, as Ishwarapuri himself is asking him to do so. E mata pratidina prabhutana sange vichara karina dui chari range. Thereafter, Nimai would daily sit with Sri Ishwarapuri for 1 or 2 hours to discuss his book. After hearing his poetry one day, the Lord smiled and said, "The verb root of this sentence is incorrect. The Atmanapedi form should not be used here. After saying this, the Lord returned home. Ishwarapuri was a learned scholar in the scriptures and he enjoyed analyzing scholastic topics. Okay. So after Nimai left, Ishwarapuri considered the verb root that he had used and came to a conclusion from various different angles. He thought the verb in its Atmanapedi form, and when Nimai came the next day, he explained that I have concluded that the verb that you said yesterday should be Paramaispadi, and that should be remained as Atmanipadi. Actually, this is very technical, but I liked it. I wanted to what I wanted to like explain this because this is a wonderful, wonderful glories of like Mahaprabhu, where he accepts the mistakes also. This is like here, Nimai Pandit is saying that the word Atmanepadi should not be used, and instead the word Paramaispadi should be used. But after Nimai Pandit gave this suggestion, Ishwarapuri was considering this in various angles, and he comes to the conclusion that no, this correction should not be accepted. He was satisfied with Manipati. Vyakyana Shuniya Prabhu Parama Santosha Vritya Jaya Nimitana Denara Dosha. When the Lord heard his explanation, he was most satisfied with the servant's victory and he did not find any further fault. Sarvakala Prabhu Pada Yena Vritya Jaya Etana Svabhava Shakala Vidikaya. The Vedas declare that the Lord by nature was always expands his devotees' glories by making them victorious. Here we see that Nimai Pandit find the faults and Sri Ishwarapuri carefully considers the suggestion and he discovers, no, this is actually correct and need not be changed. Finally, the correction offered by the Lord proved not correct and Ishwarapuri didn't accept this. One point is Sri Ishwarapuri became victorious. The Lord declared that the Lord declares that is how his nature is. He accepts his defeat. He let his devotees victorious and devotees become more glorious and he becomes satisfied with that. In the beginning of the chapter, we discussed that nobody in Navadvip could defeat Gauranga Mahaprabhu, right? But he would get into debate and he would defeat one and all. But here he surrenders to Ishwarapuri, he let him become victorious. Bhakti rase chanchala ekatra nahi sthiti Patyatane chalila pavitra paristiti. Ishwarapuri, however, would not remain in one place due to restless nature of his ecstatic love. He thus went out on pilgrimage to purify the earth. Ishuni Ishvara Puri Re Punya Kata Tanavashahaya Krishna Pada Padmayata. Whoever hears this auspicious topics about Sri Ishwarapuri lives at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So there is a benediction here. In the previous verse, we see that there is an explanation about Ishwarapuri's restlessness. So, like we have two kinds of restlessness. One is the restlessness for sense gratification. But here the restlessness of Ishwarapuri is constant thinking of the ecstatic love for Lord Sri Krishna. So because of that, he travels from one place to another to purify the whole earth. He came to Navadvip, he purified that place, and now he is going to other places to purify and to serve Krishna. This is a reason Vaishnavas travel from one place to another. So now we again come to Caitanya Charitamrta. Tabite Karila Prabhu Gaete Ghaman Ishwara Purira Sangita Taimilan. Thereafter, the Lord went to Gaya. There he met Srila Ishwarapuri. So, now again, that was the 8th verse from Caitanya Charitamrta. Again, we are jumping to Chaitanya Bhagavat based on the same passage. This is Chaitanya Bhagavat, chapter 17. Shastra Vidhi Mata Shraddha Karmadi Kariya Yatra Kari Chalina Anika Shishyalaya. So after performing the Shraddha ceremony for his father, according to scriptural injunction, the Lord departed for Gaya with many of his devotees. Janani Ragyalai Mahashamane Chalilena Mahaprabhu Gaya Darashane. The Lord first took permission from Mother Shachi and then left happily to see Gaya. Here we can see that the Lord Sriman Mahaprabhu is starting his journey to Gaya along with his students. Sarvadeshi Gramakari Punyatitamaya Sri Charana Haile Gaya Dekite Vijaya. As the Lord passed through the various towns and villages on the way to Gaya, they were all turned into holy places by the touch of his lotus feet. Dharmakata Vakovakya Parihasarase Mandire Aile Prabhu Kataka Divashe. The Lord and the students conversed, joked, and discussed various religious topics, and after a few days, they arrived at Mandara Hill. Here, there is an interesting thing. Whenever Mahaprabhu goes, that big place becomes a holy place. What is the holy place? It is a place where the Lord had done several pastimes. He had come there and the devotees are also there along with him. When the Lord goes to these places, no, they become purified and they become the holy places. Madhyapati Jwara Prakashilena Ishvare Shishyagane Hailena Chintita Antare. When the Lord manifested his fever halfway to Gaya, the hearts of his students were filled with anxiety. Paterahi Karilena Bahu Pratikara Tatapina Charidvara Hina Ichatara. They tried to cure him with various remedies, but by the desire of the Lord, his fever did not subside. Here the Acharyas explained that the couple of things the Lord wanted to instruct. So in order to instruct the people, the Lord of Vaikuntha, he displayed the fever like an ordinary person. See, this is something we see in the ordinary person, this fever, headache and all. Okay, not in the Supreme Personality of God. See here in this material world, everyone is in the disease condition. Three things of the devotees are very powerful. What are the three things? Like Vaishnava Uchishta, Vaishnava Padaduli, and also the water washed from the lotus feet of the devotees. Tabi Prabhu Vyavastila Oshadapane Sarva Dukha Kandi Vipra Padodakapane. Then the Lord prescribed his own medicine. If I drink the water that had washed the feet of a Brahmana, my suffering will be relieved. Vipra Padodakapana Kariya Ishvara Seikshane As soon as the Lord drank that water, his fever subsided and he felt relief. Here, Sriman Mahaprabhu is teaching the position of the Brahmana. Just by drinking the water, he is recovered by the sickness. He is talking about the importance of Brahman. When he is referring to Brahmana, he is not talking about the caste Brahmana. Brahmana is a person who understands that Vishnu or Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is actually referring to the top class great Vaishnava. The Lord is manifesting this pastime to glorify the devotees. Okay, so here there is a purport by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat. I just want to read out that. When in spite of using various medicine, the Lord's fever did not subside. Then in order to teach people the topmost position of Brahmanas who are conversant with the signs of Vishnu, the Jagat Guru, Lord of his own will, exhibited the pastime of accepting the remedy of water that had washed the feet of a Brahman. By this act, the Lord on one hand, pastime of creating illusion for mortal beings.
Get off. મારે ભક્તિના પેપર લખવાના છે જેમાં ભૂલ કરી હતી એ બધા
Sankarshan Prabhu, can you mute your phone?
for mortal beings who are entangled in the fruits of karma and who are eligible for the punishment of Yamaraj. And on the other hand, he protected the prestige of the topmost Brahmanas who know the signs of Vishnu. Just as in the pastime of Narayan, the Lord increased the glories of his devotees by accepting the mark of Bhrugu's foot on his own chest. In the pastimes of Gaura, he established the prestige of bodies that are related to him. Etahana dashapatha bhave nirantara tahana vasya dasha karena ishvara. The Lord desires to be the servant of anyone who always desired to be a servant of the Lord. Ativa namatana shevaka vatsala apane hariya badayena pratyavala. The Lord is therefore known as Sevaka Vatsala, or he who is favorably inclined to his servant. He accepts defeat in order to increase the devotees' glories. We already saw that Sriman Mahaprabhu accepted the defeat from Sri Ishwarapuri, and we have also many other examples like that is why Lord is called as Sevaka Vatsala. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna to just become an instrument, Nimitta Matra, and take the glories. And Srimad Bhagavatam also in the first canto, Bhishma Dev is glorifying Krishna. Bhishma Dev is saying, Krishna, fulfilling my desire, that is Bhishma Dev's desire, sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot. Bhishma Deva decided that either I will kill Arjuna or the Lord has to break his promise. So Bhishma has taken the vow, and Bhishma Deva is telling that fulfilling his desire and breaking his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up the wheel and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He also dropped his outer garment on the way. Here we see that to protect his devotee, the Lord broke his own promise. He accepted the defeat in order to increase the glories of his devotees. Another example is Mother Yashoda is also there. Because of time constraint, I'm just not giving many examples. Gayati te raje prabhu pravishahaya namaskari lena prabhu shrikara yudiya. As the Lord entered Gaya, the king of holy places, he offered his obeisances with folded hands. Brahma kunde ashi prabhu karilena snanam yato chita kaila pitru devera samanam. Thereafter, the Lord came to Brahmakund, wherein he took bath and offered oblations to his forefathers. Tabe ai lena chakra vedera bhitare pada padma deki bhare chalila sarvare satvare. The Lord then entered Chakraveda and quickly went to see the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Gandha pushpa dhupa deepa vastra alankara katha padiya chaleki jokana hitara. Unlimited sandalwood paste, flower, incense, and cloth had been offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. Daiva yoge Ishwar Puri ose ikshane ailena Ishvara ichayaste stane. By the divine will of the Supreme Lord, at that moment Sri Ishwarapuri arrived at that place. Ishwarapuri Radhiki Sri Gaura Sundar Namaskari Lenahati Kariyadhar. On seeing Sri Ishwarapuri, Gaura Sundar respectfully offered him obeisances. Sri Ishwarapuri was also delighted to see Gaura Chandra, and he happily embraced him. Ishwarapuri, he is also appeared there to further assist the Lord and serve him. Tita pinde dileste nishtere pitragana sehaya re pinda deya tare si jana toma deki le matra koti pitragana seikshane sarva bandha paya vimochana. If one offered oblations to the forefathers in the holy place, then the forefathers are delivered. But if one delivers only he whom the oblation was offered. But by seeing you, However, millions of forefathers are immediately freed from material bondage. So, here see Mahaprabhu addressed Ishwarapuri that my journey to Gaya becomes successful just by seeing your lotus feet. So here he is saying that if one offers pinda at the holy place, then all the forefathers will be delivered. But by simply seeing Ishwarapuri, tens and millions of forefathers get liberation. That is the position because Ishwarapuri is such a great devotee of the Lord. How does this happen? Like when one Vaishnava sees, when one sees the exalted Vaishnava, they become purified. And by this exalted devotees association, he becomes the devotee of the Lord. And as he becomes the devotee of the Lord, many millions of forefathers are delivered. अतीवतीत नहे तुम्हारा समान तितेरो परम तुम्ही मंगल प्रदान. Therefore, holy places are not equal to you. For you purify even the holy places. Samsara samudra haite udara hamare ami deha samarpilana tomare. Please deliver me from the ocean of material existence. I surrender myself unto you. Therefore, here he's saying that even your presence is, therefore your presence is even more auspicious than that of this holy teeth. All the holy teethers pray for the dust of your lotus feet. So here Sriman Mahaprabhu is saying, so O Puripad, I am praying at your lotus feet to ferry me across the ocean of material existence and to cause me to drink the nectar from Krishna's lotus feet. This is confirmed in the following statement of Dharmaraj Yudhishthira to Bhaktaraj Vidura in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhavadvita Bhagavata Tita Bhuta Swayam Vibhoti Kurvanti Titani Swanta Hastena Gadabrata. So, my Lord, devotees like you, like your good self, are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into the places of pilgrimage. Balena Ishvara Puri Shunaha Pandita Tumi Ishvara Amsa Janinu Nishtita. Ishwarapuri then said, listen, dear Pandit, I know without doubt that you are an expansion of the Supreme Lord. Ye tomara Pandita ye charita tomara Seha ki Ishvara Amsa Bhai Bhayara. Can anyone other than an expansion of the Lord possess the extraordinary learning and characteristics that you have? So when Sriman Mahaprabhu said that he is surrendering to Ishvara Puripad, he replied, I understand that you are the personality of Godhead. Here we can see that Sriman Mahaprabhu is exhibiting the pastime of hearing in the chain of disciplic succession from the spiritual master. Also, Srila Ishwarapuri says, that is, it is from you all the expansions have come, from you all the controllers have appeared. Few more verses. I'm so sorry for the delay. Satya kahi pandita tomara darshani parananda shukayena pai anukshani. So, oh Pandit, I'm telling you the truth. I'm feeling great ecstasy every moment since I have seen you. Yadavati tomadiki yachinadiyaya tadavati chityara kichunahi bhaya. So here we can understand the greatness of Sri Ishwarapuri, the pleasure he is getting when he is seeing Gaurasundar. He said, since I saw you in Navadvip, no other subject matter has occupied my heart. This is indeed the truth. There is no doubt about it. So as soon as I see you with my eyes smeared with the ointment of love, I experience the same indescribable happiness when I see Lord Krishna. Tabe Mahaprabhu Katha Kshani Shushtahaya Randana Karite Prabhu Vashilena Jia. After he took some bread, the Lord then sat down to cook. Randana Sampurna Haidham Kena Samaya Ailena Shri Ishvara Puri Mahashai. As soon as the Lord finished cooking, Shri Ishvara Puri arrived there. Randhana Yediya Prabhu Parama Samrame Namaskaritanya Vashilena Shane. The Lord immediately left the kitchen and after respectfully offered obeisances, he seated Ishwarapuri comfortably. So here a few verses I'm not able to take up because of the time. So I'm just reading out the translation. So it's very interesting. I'm not able to leave that also. So here Ishwarapuri then smiled and said, listen, O Pandit, I have come at the right time. The Lord replied, it will be my good fortune if I accept my meal here today. Then Ishwarapuri, he smiled and said, oh, then what will you eat? The Lord replied, I will cook again. So Ishwarapuripa then said, what is the need to cook again? Divide whatever you have into 2 portions. The Lord smiled and said, if you really want to please me, then eat whatever I have cooked. I'll then cook again within a moment. You take your meal without hesitation. Then the Lord gave his meal to Sri Ishwarapuri. The above is the nectarian conversation between Ishwarapuripad and Sriman Mahaprabhu. So here we see that Ishwarapuri's mind is never deviated from the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, the Lord bestowed such a mercy on him. So Sriman Mahaprabhu was very pleased with Sri Ishwarapuri because his mind never deviated. That is the quality which makes one dear to Krishna. Then the Lord served Sri Ishwarapuri with his own hands, and Ishwarapuri thus ate in great ecstasy. So at that time, Rama Devi, the goddess of fortune, quickly cooked for the Lord while remaining unseen. So here this wonderful thing is happening. So remaining out of the sight of materially conditioned people, Sri Lakshmi Devi, who is the dearmost maid servant of Gaura Narayan, immediately cooked nectarian food stuff for her beloved husband. So then after that, the Lord fed Ishwarapuri. First, he fed Ishwarapuri and he happily ate himself. So here is the benediction. One who hears about the Lord taking his meal with Ishwarapuri will achieve the wealth of love of Krishna. Ishwarapuri rasange prabhura bhojan ihara shravane mili Krishna premadan. So here is the benediction. The Lord with his own hands then smeared sandalwood paste on the body of Ishwarapuri. Then Jagadguru Lord, he set the ideal example of serving the spiritual master by personally smearing the body of Ishwarapuri Pad with the sandalwood pulp as a menial disciple. While serving the spiritual master, who is the manifestation of the Supreme Lord, Gaurahari thought everyone that the best ingredients, whatever the best ingredient, that should never be used for our own sense gratification. Rather, it should be used or utilized only in the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. So, and the benediction, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is giving us is just by hearing this pastime of Sriman Mahaprabhu serving meal for Sri Ishwarapuri will get the wealth of Krishna. Mile Krishna Premadhan. With this wonderful benediction of Krishna Premadhan, I would like to conclude my class here. Next week, we may hear from the next speaker the nectarian pastime of how Sriman Mahaprabhu receiving the initiation from Sri Ishwarapuri. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. Really ecstatic to hear wonderful pastimes of the Lord. There are so many pastimes, so many points actually take home from today's. And the way you recited slokas is amazing. Thank you so much for showing that nectar in a very, very appropriate way of wonderfully reciting and connecting Chaitanya Caritamrta and Chaitanya Bhagavat. So I know lots of pastimes you had to skip because of a time factor. I'm very sorry for that we could not hear from you. Though you are very ecstatic, we could not accommodate because of the time factor. We'll continue to hear from you again coming sessions whenever His Grace Nityananda Prabhu shows his mercy and lots slot to you. Hope that will happen very soon. A couple of points just I would like to.
Yeah.
Mataji?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity of glorifying about Sriman Mahaprabhu is like, I really liked it, but I'm not a very qualified devotee. I'm just learning from all of you. So kindly please bless me, Prabhu. If there are any mistakes, kindly please forgive me.
One who thinks he is not qualified, he is the most qualified. That is what Srila Prabhupada always used to say. That shows humility, because one should never think that I am qualified. That is a whole problem with the devotees, that we feel that we are most qualified and others are not. So that takes us the journey to other side of destination. So just a couple of points, Mataji, from your session today. Since we don't have much time for question answers also, I don't know if somebody has questions, you can raise a hand meanwhile for a few minutes. So just to cover a few points, how actually, what is the ultimate message, the essence today we are getting from today's class, that you wonderfully glorified the pastimes of the Lord, connecting from Chaitanya Charitamrta and Chaitanya Bhagavat in a very, very appropriate and wonderful way. And we learned today how one should respect a Brahmana. That is a very important lesson for every one of us, that not to take Brahmana very cheaply, consider him as one of the dear associates of the Lord, and he is Vaishnava. And also we understood today from the humility of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, how humble he was, and respecting Guru is a very apt lesson for us, that even we are thinking that we are so-called advanced senior devotees, the Lord in front of other devotees, we are his or her servants. So one should not feel that no, or one should not puffed up with the knowledge or position, whatever we have. Understanding that this one more message you gave today, that whatever opulence we have should be used only in the service of the Lord. The best of best things what we have should be used in the service of the Lord. So that it leaves us a message that all our opulence should be used only in the service of the Lord, including our name, fame, position, or whatever we carry. All these things comes as a supplementary to add our service to the Lord, not to deviate from the service of the Lord, get puffed up by the so-called positions. So this also reminds us the example of Indra's past time, though he was serving the Lord as a head of demigods. So finally, he was so engrossed with the service that he forgot for whose pleasure he was serving. So that actually it happens, and for us also, we tend to do that mistake. We so much engrossed in delivering our services. Finally, we forget that the service is to please the Lord and devotees. So we take the service as granted only as a position. So that is a wonderful message you give, Mataji. And also humility of Ishwarapuri. Though he is a spiritual master of Lord himself, so humbly he was requesting Lord Chaitanya Prabhu to correct him wherever he goes wrong. And very beautiful way Lord has exhibited, responded to him, very nicely explained. And one important point which it reminded me today from your class, that don't try to see the Lord, do such activity that Lord wants to see you. So this is actually the quote from Bhakti Siddhanta Thakura. One who try to see the Lord actually will never see. One who does the menial service to the Lord and his devotees, Lord is pleased and he will reciprocate. So that is how Lord Chaitanya Prabhu has reciprocated to Ishwarapuri. Though though Chaitanya Prabhu is the Lord himself, so with the humility and service attitude of Ishwarapuri, Lord was so pleased that he accepted him as his spiritual master. So it's amazing pastimes. Thank you so much. There are so many other wonderful points, but since the time is a factor, so could not cover all the points recap. We have Sachiprema Mataji who wants to add something or ask some questions. Sachiprema Mataji, you can unmute
Yes.
your.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for giving enchanting pastimes of the Lord. My only question, Mataji, who could be Ishvara Puri in Krishna pastimes? Because I'm not able to find anywhere. Can you help me out in this, if you can know?
Maybe Ramananda Prabhu. I will check, but I will check, Mataji.
Yeah, please, if you
I will
can,
check
let
and-
me know, Mataji. That is my question. Other than that, no other questions, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. I'll definitely but find it out. Find out, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So if we don't have any more questions, we'll conclude the session here. Mataji, if you can glorify Chaitanya Charitamrta, then we'll end the session here.
Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai, Nitai Gaur Sitanath Premanande, Hari Hari.
Thank you very much. So next week we'll continue the session with Grace Bharata Prabhu. I'm trying to approach Prabhu's lotus feet to have his consent, but most of the Prabhu will accept. So Prabhu will continue the Diksha pastime of the Lord. Very, very important, and request all not to miss this wonderful pastime.